You look good.
I don't feel good, but all right. Well, I am Matthew Jelly. I guess, what am I? I'm a lifelong martial artist. I've been doing this since I was 7 years old. Started with Taekwondo and Judo, and then got into kickboxing and Jiu-Jitsu at 16. Went to Thailand at 20. Took my first pro fight at 20, and then I've just been like a gypsy. Went to Vegas, China, Thailand. I tried to bounce all over the place. So I'm from Fort McMurray, Alberta. So I'm trying to be one of the few that got out of there and did something other than oil field work. But no, I'm a lifelong martial artist. And right now I'm currently at Niagra Top Team in St. Catharines, Ontario. And we're doing great things out there right now in Canadian MMA. So
That's wicked.
yeah, but thank you for having me.
So while you were in uh, Fort McMurray, were you in the oil field?
No,
Never.
I had one job interview, and some lady, for some reason, she was like a Zumba instructor or some shit. And my whole resume was like martial arts stuff. So she basically sabotaged me and said that I seen somebody get hit by a truck and didn't report it. And I was just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Right? I was just like, so I didn't get the job. And I was like, well, whatever. I'll just go back to martial arts. Right. So I was like, I don't know why the Zumba instructor hates me so much, but everybody else liked me. But so, I mean, my dad is a heavy duty mechanic. My mom is a pipe fitter. My whole family, like my auntie's a journeyman electrician. My whole family's done trades, but I'm the only one that kind of did an art. But
Yeah.
it's working out in a sense. It's still not the same kind of money that they make, but I get a lot of different experiences. So
And shout out to your dad. He just did
yeah. No, my dad just competed in, I think it was like a provincial or national qualifier bodybuilding competition. So in the 60 plus division, and he got second place, but I feel like he would have destroyed the 50 plus division and like most of the 40 plus division. Like him and the other old guy, the 60-year-old, they were good, man. Yeah, it was cool to see. It was the first time I've ever got to see my dad compete like that. I mean,
where was it?
it was in Edmonton. So it's at the Mayfield convention. I fought there a long time ago too. So me and my dad were both in our underwear at one point in the Mayfield Convention Center.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's wicked.
Yeah.
So when did you so you started when you were 7, Taekwondo.
Yeah.
So how did that like change into Muay Thai and then change into MMA?
So basically, like, I traveled around all the time. My dad, being a heavy duty mechanic, and he would go to a different place every couple of years. So I would be in a new school. So when I was in Fort Saskatchewan, I started with actually when I was in Fort Mac, I started Taekwondo, and then I ended up moving to Fort Saskatchewan, kept doing Taekwondo, but got into Judo. And then when I moved back to Fort Mac, I started getting into kickboxing. And I did this tournament. It was a provincial tournament in Alberta. I won the tournament, but I fought some kickboxer in the final. And it was like a point tournament. But I didn't feel like I would have won the fight. I was pretty young at the time, but I beat him on points. And then after that, I was just like, I need to go to kickboxing. I was like, Taekwondo it's run its course for me. I still have, crazy kicks, and I use the dexterity, but my boxing defense was shit back then. So went into kickboxing, and then my dad and my auntie, they were pushing me to go to Thailand. So I went to Thailand with my dad, and then I just fell in love with what happens there. It was a completely different world than what I was expecting, like in North America. And then I just seen how the Thais held pads, and then I just kind of tried to mimic that. And then I turned my pad style into something like some weird hybrid mix. But yeah, no, it's just kind of this steady progression. I just kept trying to evolve. Whenever I felt stale, I felt like I needed to move to a place where I can keep building. And I ended up in Vegas, I ended up in China, Thailand, all these places. And I got the whole pads and corner some very high level guys like Sean Strickland, Weili Zhang, Fluffy Hernandez. Obviously we got Jasmine Jazavicius right now. She's ranked number 5 in the UFC at flyweight. So it's building, right? It's I've been able to use as much as my experience as possible to kind of try and pass on. But my first pro fight, I got bailed on by our coach, so I ended up cornering my 2 friends after my fight at the first fight of the night, and I got kind of fucked up in the fight, which wasn't great. Apparently, like I got told my opponent switched the week before the fight, but I didn't get told. So I showed up to the fight, and all of a sudden I'm like, well, who the hell is this guy I'm matched up with right now? It's just like, oh, we told your coach that the fight got canceled or they're switched out. I was like, oh, well, he didn't tell me, and he didn't even show up to the fight. So I was like, okay, cool. And I just fell in love with coaching after that because I was like, man, I don't want anybody to go through my first fight experience. It was bullshit. So I just kind of kept falling into coaching, and everywhere I went over. I wanted to try and fight and find coaching. It just didn't work out. I just ended up being the coach again. So might as well just be a young coach at this point, right? So I got at least 13 pro fights in before my body fell apart and all the other bullshit, but it's working out decent at least. I can take my experience, and I'm still not even 40. I'm 36, so it's not bad where I'm at right now, but steady progression my whole life. I don't know where I'm going to end up again, but it's gypsy life.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been coaching?
Full time since I was 18. So
Wow,
I started with like a women's kickboxing class, and then I built that class up to like 30, 35 women. And then I would hold pads for a couple of the select fighters, because once I went to Thailand, I tried to do what they did back in Fort Mac. And then basically since 2021, we had one high-profile fighter, Dwayne Lewis. He was one of the top in Canada for a long time, and he got to fight a bunch of UFC vets. So when I was like 20 years old, I was already training him and doing strategy and game plan work for like a bunch of different UFC vets, and he was able to knock out quite a few of them, and it was pretty cool to be able to beat high-level international fighters from a little hole in the wall place up in Fort McMurray, right? So it's just let you know that like as long as you got good hard work, you have a good solid couple people that are at least dedicated to helping, you can do good things on a world level from a small group, right? So I was pumped about that, and then just kept going. I moved to Edmonton like years after, and we had the number one team in Western Canada for a long time at Complete. And then
is that where you met Stuart?
No, Stu came up to Fort Mac. Like, I mean, he was living in La Loche at the time, and then he would take the winter road. So it would be like 7 to 8 hour drive. He would come up, we would spar, I'd hold pads, and then he would just sleep in his car and then go back to Saskatchewan, right? Like, he worked his ass off back in the day, and I'm really happy for what he's doing in North Battleford and even like Meadow Lake and Loon Lake, and just with all the young kids that might not have the opportunity, but Stu's at least has a lot of experience, and he's trying to give all these kids good opportunity to get outside of the res life kind of thing, right? So Stu's one of my best friends. We've beat the hell out of each other for a long time, so it's really cool to see him also turn out to be one of like the better pad holders I've seen, and he really dedicates his craft. He's got to work on his anger, Stu. Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
it's funny when he comes to my gym and he does some sparring and stuff. I just tell everybody, Stuart does not like to spar hard. So if you hit him hard, prepare to fight.
Oh yeah, it's
and how many times I've just all of a sudden just heard "Wah, wah, wah," and I look and he's just beating the shit out of one of my students.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, right.
Oh man, he's one of my favorite people to train with in Saskatchewan. I go to NB as much as I can. I bring guys out there just because I love his training style. I love how he moves. I love how he hits, which angles. It's just like very, very well done.
He's very fluid.
Very fluid.
Yeah, no, he's a talent. Like it's really cool. I've been obviously like I cornered his last fight, and he cornered my last fight. But I mean, his was World Series of Fighting, and then it was just a nightmare to find him fights after. And then he kind of like dipped out of it to raise his kids, but now his kids want him to fight. So now it's just like, right, it's running out of time, man. He's got to go. Like he hasn't. I keep telling him, he's taken no major injuries. his body's still okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, if you're gonna do it, man, you gotta do it now to try and just get back in there a while before he's fucking 40 years old, right? So, but he's a real talent. Super good guy, good heart, but just gotta make sure you can take a couple deep breaths in certain moments before certain things happen.
And what would you, if you had to describe, I guess, your coaching style? How would you describe it?
um, I try and be as relative to fighting as possible. I'm not usually a heavy repetition. Like, I will heavy rep if it's like the person's deficient in something, but mostly it's like my pad style, my training style is just like flow spar. So I pad spar with people. I hit people back. Obviously, like, I'm not an Instagram pad holder. I don't do stuff that looks pretty on camera most of the times. Like, I always liked how Andre Ward talked about with like Virgil Hunter, where it was just like, none of this stuff looks good, but I'm trying to make it relative to what a fight feels like. But it's just like, if you don't have good defense, I'm going to slap you in the face, right? It's just like, if you don't figure that out, well, then we have an issue bigger than just your technique. So I try to make it as relative and close to a fight as possible. And then before my knee got injured, I still do it a little bit, but I'll do full MMA pads. People take me down, do ground and pound. I attack submissions. We'll play the game. And then it's just like a full repetition. But most of my game is nowadays heavy clinch, Thai clinch style. And then just kind of like that old school power Thai style. But I do a lot of flow boxing work because I try to have a high output. So if you can get a high output, then at least we can find the time to find the good timing, I guess, right? Because too many people, I feel like they don't have high enough output and they get into the ring or whatever, and then it's just like they're kind of losing just that output and they get tired too fast. So I try and break people in the gym to the point where it's just like they keep elevating themselves. Like, I mean, when they do pads with me, they're dead tired within 15 minutes if they've never done it with me before. But then some of the experienced guys, after a while, it's like after an hour, they're maybe getting tired. But then it's like, I feel like that's very relative when they fight. You can deal with fighting me for an hour straight. Like, I'll do 10, 15, 20-minute rounds, and then it's just constant. So it hurts me. I can't do it too much. Like, I can't go back to back with high level fighters all the time because it burns me out a lot because I will fight with you for an hour straight. But I try and expend most of my energy with the higher profile fighters just because, like, they don't get tired as fast as the other ones. So I'm trying to be a little more conservative with my energy output and all that. But the older I get, the slower I get, sadly. But I'm my style, I don't know. It's hard to. I've taken so much from so many different people that I can't even compare too much. Like, I got Taekwondo style and I got my Judo style. I got my Thai clinch style. I got the heavy Thai kick style. And then I went to Mayweather's before, and I tried to take a bunch of stuff from, like, Jeff Mayweather held mitts for me, and I sparred with a couple of their guys. And that was a cool experience to really see what they do that works, and then, like, try and hybrid that in. So I don't know. I try to be a little different. I don't see too many people that kind of do what I do on pads, just because I don't know if people have the cardio to do what I do. I mean, I'm starting to lose the cardio to do what I do, but yeah, it's hard for me to really put myself in a box because I'm always trying to go outside of the box and see different things and then bring it back to refine the basic techniques. But it's really hard, man. I can't. I take a lot from a lot of old school boxing coaches, and I try and just find new shit all the time. But it's a hard question for me to answer on that one. I'm kind of all over the place. Yeah.
So, I feel like you have you have a ton of experience. Like, you have a ton of people you've gone and learned from.
Yeah. No,
So you're probably like super unorthodox too. You know, like, just like you probably like picked all these things from each person.
Yeah.
And now you've like created your own, which is that's cool, man.
I try to create my own, but then I try and teach the individual to what works for the individual. Like, I mean, I got a rubber guard game and I have like 360 spinning heel kick game and all this crazy stuff, but most people don't do that or know how to do it, right? So then it's just like, I'll just go back into simple boxing, either high elbow blocking, a simple pairing, and I'll play different games. Footwork, distance management, I'll play all that kind of stuff with everybody, but I don't teach everybody the same way. Right? It's because it's like, I don't want to teach somebody that doesn't have the coordination to do these crazy kicks something. I feel like it's a waste of time. I'll try and get them to increase their flexibility and then bit by bit hope that I can branch into the next stage of what they want to learn. But for the most part, like, I mean, I used to like hold pads for Sean Strickland a bunch, and he's not dynamic. He's got a good jab, and then like I did a lot of work with his toe stabbing and teeping way back, and then he messes with people with just a jab, a toe stab, and then just like pump faking and baiting. Right. So like, you don't need like a dynamic game to beat people, but it's just like he has a hard time lifting his leg up because he destroyed his leg in the motorcycle accident and some of these things. So a lot of his skills, like he can't do crazy head kicks and stuff like that, but he's got some of the slickest boxing in MMA. So it's like, okay, well, we'll play this and then just try and punch him as many times as possible so defense stays refined. But everybody's different, right? Like with Jasmine, I just try and build up her distance, her hand fighting and defense, and then just trying to really isolate her right hand. Just because, I mean, she's got such good wrestling that it's like people are always scared of it anyways. So if she can level change, bait, and then just find power in the right straight, well, then people are going to start lifting up their elbows too much to block it, and it's going to open up the wrestling and all this stuff again. So I don't want to reinvent the wheel, but I want her to like knock people out with the right hand. And her last bunch of fights, she's rocked a lot of girls with it. So it's like, I don't want to reinvent the wheel for certain people, but if you could take one good weapon and then just distance management, footwork drills and stuff like that, go with wrestling, and there's not many people that are going to have an easy time fighting her. So, but yeah, everybody's different. I'm sure you're the same way, right? It's like, you don't want to teach somebody that doesn't feel like they're ready for that yet. So it's like,
even my style, like how I fight, I find it difficult to teach other people how to do it.
Yeah.
It's just so just different, and it's a little bit uncomfortable, I guess, when you first do it. It's like I am a high volume too. Volume, just moving left and right instead of in and out, really. And it's just different from what amateur boxing is. Like that European, like it's almost like fencing, right? Amateur boxing,
out, and just kinda...
I don't do that at all.
Yeah.
Which is nice because it's just easy to throw people off. Like people are just expecting like we're going to be taking turns, like
back and forth,
forward, back. Exactly. So the second you do something different, they kind of like freeze up a little bit. But it's hard to teach. So like honestly, there's only probably one of my boxers who fights like me.
Oh, okay.
And she definitely has the best cardio in the gym and just works hard. And because if you don't have good cardio, you just can't do that.
Yeah, you fade off pretty quick.
Yeah, so it's just so a lot of people I just try and help them. Same thing, just help them with what they're good at.
Yeah,
with their
try and boost kind of where they're like really deficient.
Right,
and then just
have you coached boxing as well, or not really?
Not as in depth. Like mostly it's like Muay Thai and just MMA work. Like I've held pads for a bunch of different boxers. Like my mitt style is pretty high pace. Once again, I play a lot of like I'll attack the boxers. I'll make sure defense is tight. But I do have a pretty decent straight boxing routine of how I work. But it's almost all reaction drilling, timing, slapping, going from there. If people aren't moving and they're leaning without stepping, well, then it's just like just that kind of shit. And like you said about going left and right, because that was like one thing. A the first time I held pads for Wei Li, and I lived with her for her first title fight against Jessica Andrade. She kept circling into the power. Like the whole camp, she just kept doing it. And I'm just like, look, like we got to fix this. So the whole camp, I basically did backstep right hand and angling away from the power, timing the girl's left hook, and then hit her back right when she misses. Because Andrade is one of the easiest game plans I've ever had to figure out. She starts, there's no jabs, there's barely any leg kicks, and it's just all overhand left or rights. Right. So if I can get her going against the left hand and then she whiffs on it and then she's sitting off balance so that it's like easy to time the right straight going through. And then that's all I did with her was just backing out, J stepping kind of thing, getting the hell outside, get away from the right hand so there's no stepping, time the left hook, rip the right straight and play your game from there. And it just worked out. Like obviously Jasmine just beat Andrade again. It's the third person I've trained to fight Andrade basically. So it's like easy game plan for me at least. So especially like going back from like, let's say traditional boxing, when somebody just throws overhands and just lunges, it's pretty easy, right? It's super easy to figure out the game plan. So those fights, I've never had any concern about fighting Andrade for the most part. Like I think she's a good fighter and she's got a lot of experience. But when it comes down to strategic game planning, I thought that it was just very easy. So Jasmine subbed her in the first round there last time, and Wei Li knocked her out in like 40 seconds in the first round. So it was like, it's pretty cool, but
that's wicked, man.
Right? It's just like, I mean, MMA boxing is a lot less intricate than boxing, right? So it's like most people in MMA, they're not super refined with certain things, especially in straight striking. I mean, you're going to get a few for sure, but like the vast majority are not like specialists in striking art for the most part. So you can get away, and if they are specialists in striking, they're probably not a specialist in grappling. So it's just like you're just trying to like manipulate their offense to kind of rig them up and get them down. But I don't know, MMA, I find it's a lot easier to strategize than straight boxing because there's just less tools, right, in straight boxing. So you really have to be smart with distance, footwork, finding the jab, being able to stutter them, trying to make them twitch. But MMA, it's just, I don't know, there's so much, but after a while, it just seems like there's just not that much. Like it's like
get used to it.
Most strikers don't have a vast game. You either catch a kick, get them down, whatever, time a punch and get them down, or I don't know. Right? It's just like every fight is different. Every fighter is different. So like when somebody gets a matchup, then it's just like, okay, well, this person does this, 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 and this. So for this camp, let's do this, 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 and then we'll be weary of this kind of thing, right? And then it's just a little easier for the fighter to kind of like break down what might happen instead of just like, well, this person's good at this, so let's just hope that you can do this, right? But I try to really break down enough that you don't have to just sit in the pocket and brawl the whole time. Like I'm trying to be, well, not trying. I've been kind of like strategy work for like almost 20 years now. So it's like, but my personal fight career was not that. My personal fight career was just blood and guts. I like Arturo Gatti. I'm just going to go into the pocket and whatever happens, fight of the night or bust. And I don't like that for students that I have because it's just dumb. Like it's great to be entertaining, but it's just dumb. I lost fights I feel like I never should have lost because I fought like an idiot. So I'm using all that experience now as a coach to be like, don't be as stupid as me, and then we'll figure it out from there, right? But it's just like, yeah, I like at least having the experience. I've been able to win. I've lost. I've had close wins, close losses. I've had all these different experiences. So like when something happens, when I corner somebody, then it's not foreign to me. I kind of feel like I can look in your eyes and be like, okay, this person needs a break. So maybe we should dance around the ring for like another 2 minutes or whatever and just try and milk it, catch a break or whatever. Or it's like, oh, that person's dead tired. Get back in their face fast, break them off early, and then go from there. But every fight is different. And in between rounds, it's like I love staring at the opponent, just to see, because I tell people all the time, is like people put on that mean face in between the bells, but sometimes they make themselves look weak between rounds, right? So all of a sudden they look tough, and then all of a sudden the bell rings, and you go back to your corner, and then they just look. I do that. I'm like, oh, okay, right? This is like the poker face. It's like now they've shown weakness. Get back in their face and keep trying to break them off, because it's like right now they're trying to make it look like they're ready, but internally they might not be, right? So it's the one big thing with like a poker face and poker body, poker reaction. It's not just a face. If you look sluggish and you're just doing this and slugging around, well, it's just like, okay, well, they might look like mean face, but their body is showing a different aspect, right? So every individual is different, right? Some guys have great cardio and they're not strong. Some people are strong and have terrible cardio, and then you get the unicorns that are everything. But
yeah,
it's the unicorns sometimes are few and far between. You can build them, and those people are usually super open, no ego, really trying to dedicate themselves. But the ones that have too big of an ego, sometimes they will never learn because they think they're already there, and then I've seen that happen a lot of times too, where it's like some people get fed to too many inexperienced fighters, build a record up and go against one guy, and then they just break like somebody with little experience. It's like, man, you got to get used to that. But
it's funny. Because I had Hunter on the podcast a couple of
okay,
weeks ago, and that's what we were talking about, how like people try and pad their amateur records.
yeah.
So it's like now you've fought a bunch of guys with not much experience. Maybe you're 8, 9, 10 and 0 amateur. Now you can't find a fight
Everyone's scared,
pro because everyone's scared. And if you do get a fight, it's against a legit guy, and you've never actually fought somebody at that level before.
Yeah.
So now you're gonna get your ass kicked pro. It's like you should find the hardest people to fight amateur,
So
have a 50-50 record, get experience, and then anyone will fight you when you go pro, and then you can kind of like build up your career pro. And everyone just does it backwards.
Because they're just trying to build up the confidence, but then it's just like you said, it's like you fight a real fighter, and then the confidence falls off a cliff.
Right.
So it's like I'd rather just slowly build it. Like at least like when I first started fighting, I think the only place that might have had amateur in Canada at the time was probably Rumble in the Cage. Right? I mean, Lee Mean and Rumble is like Canadian OG show. I love those guys. They're doing great work, and they have for like 20 something years now. Shit, I think they started in like the 90s. But like you see, I never had the amateur career. I never got to go into. I had like taekwondo tournaments, jiu-jitsu tournaments, that kind of stuff, but there was no like amateur. So I got pushed into pro right off the bat, and I'm just like, well, I probably wouldn't have did that if I had a coach that kind of, I don't use the word cared about his students, but in that aspect. But now it's like there's so many amateur tournaments that it's really cool, because like we just had a girl, Danielle Lentini. She went to Indonesia for a Gamma tournament, and like she fought 3 times in 3 nights, had to weigh in every day, fought like good girls from all over the world, and she won the tournament. And then it's like, okay, well, now people didn't want to fight her, right? So she went pro. I mean, then she fought another girl that was the exact same kind of thing as her, fought a lot of amateur fights, good girls, and they had their pro debut, and it was probably the highest level pro debut fight that I've seen for like women in a long time. I mean, Danielle came up a little short on that one, lost a decision, but she should be a 105er, but you can't find 105 fights, right? Yeah. So it's kind of like she had to go up in weight, and she's walking around almost at 118 pounds, a lot of it. So she got a little out muscled by the girl she was fighting, and it was, it's a kick in the teeth sometimes, but that kind of level, and she's got a good attitude about it, but that level is going to make the next fight just so much easier. Right. Because like, she lost a close decision, but now she's 0-1. So now girls will be like, well, okay, I'll fight her, right? And be a wake-up call potentially on that one, right? So it's like you always want everybody to win, but when 2 girls kind of thing, and not even just girls, but just in Canada, there's not many women that are fighting. So it's like the good ones have to almost fight each other like almost right off the bat.
Yeah.
And that was the one thing I noticed in Canada for years. Is like if you get like 3-0, you're already fighting the top guys in Canada right after that, right? Whereas in the States, you can build up a 10, 12, whatever, no record and not fight anybody with like a winning record.
Mm-hmm.
Here, if you go 3 or 4-0, you're already known in the whole country because there's not enough fighters. So it's like there might be 10, 15 active fighters in like every division. So if a new random kid is 3-0, well, you're already on the brink of either a title shot or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I always feel that Canadian fighters per capita are tougher than the States because we have to fight the top guys in our own country pretty early. And like it builds up our fighters very well. Whereas in the States, I see a lot of these guys, they don't fight too many guys that really push them. They got great looking records, but it doesn't mean that they're that level. So I always think Canadian fighters are tough as hell. Per capita, we only have like 41 million or whatever in this country, but we're very tough people. I mean, our government sucks, but we're tough people. Yeah, all right.
Man, I've been finding it tricky. Going from, like you said, like boxing sparring and MMA sparring is so different. When Eric Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I jump in with a lot of his guys too. And like when the MMA gloves are on, I'm so used to boxing sparring. So when I jump in with them, it's like now I gotta refigure out my distance, and then things I wouldn't, because in boxing, I like catching and shooting, just like blocking, coming off that
Yeah.
block. But then when I'm doing MMA sparring, I'm like, I don't want to, like, we're not going hard. I'm like, man, if this was hard, these are going to be
4 ounce
getting
glove.
through. And I'm like, I wonder how I would. And then now that we have a couple bare knuckle guys, it's like, it's completely different because now we're like hitting, moving, like don't get hit, like hit and don't get hit at all.
Yeah.
Or like hit and then like stop momentum, grab, push them, clinch up. And it's just like, we're trying to figure that out, how to hit and not get hit because there's so many knockouts in that sport. It's just like you make one mistake,
Yeah,
and that's it.
That's the one thing. Like boxing gloves defense, sometimes you get a little confident because it covers almost your whole head. But no glove or a 4 ounce glove, it's like stuff just sneaks through, and it's like you see it in Muay Thai, like the 4 ounce glove Muay Thai now. Whereas like when they had the big puffy gloves and a lot of the shows and events still, boxing isn't scored that high because obviously you got shins, you got elbows, you got knees, you got all like whatever. But in like ONE FC where they're doing Muay Thai with 4 ounce gloves on, boxing is knocking these guys out, and they are not used to getting hit with a 4 ounce glove. So it makes boxing so much more dangerous. Whereas in Muay Thai, they kind of almost shit on boxing forever, right? It's like it's the lowest scored part of Muay Thai for the most part. But in ONE FC with the 4 ounce gloves on, it's changing the game and the dynamic of how people have to look at getting punched in the head, right? And especially with bare knuckle, like I mean, people are getting cut up so much, like the teeth just getting mangled. Like there's so many cuts in it, so it's like you almost have to just like hit, move, be very smart, and then like I mean, you can rip people apart with a jab with bare knuckle. Yeah. So it's like if you can rip that up and break the nose and cut them up a little bit and make them whiff on overhands and counter, and I mean, I see a lot of bare knuckle going on now. I see it a lot in Alberta. I don't know how many shows are around Saskatchewan, but
none.
So you guys go to Alberta?
Yeah, we go to Edmonton.
Yeah.
I think there's that smaller league, Havoc. It's like a Canadian league, and then BKFC comes up. But we've been having to go to the States.
Oh, okay.
But on the 9th, there's one in Edmonton again.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah,
because I see a lot of the guys there in Edmonton. A lot of my friends are always on it, so it's cool that it's happening. There's just more stuff. I remember when Edmonton was the number one hotbed in Canada. There was like 9 shows just in Edmonton, so it was like every 2 weeks there's a fight card, whether it's boxing, whether it's kickboxing, whether it's MMA, and it just got so busy. But then the sad issue with Tim Hague, rest in peace, Tim Hague, that shut down the whole commission, the whole city. And then when they came back, a lot of the shows didn't come back with it. So it kind of killed the whole fight scene for a little while. But I mean, tragic situations. But to the credit That whole fight, that kind of pissed me off, that fight, because the commission took away the 3 knockdown rule, and he got knocked down 3 times in the first round, and the corner didn't stop it, and it's like it didn't look good. And start of the second round, he got hit with that one big shot, and yeah. So I'm an advocate for stopping fights. I don't care how tough you are.
Yeah.
Right? It's like being tough doesn't mean anything to me anymore. Like, I mean, it's the old Mike Tyson quote, right? It's like, a tough man gets hurt very bad in this sport, and it's good to have it in the back pocket. But if that's your A game, then maybe go do something else, right? Because it's like, you don't want to be walking around not knowing where you are at like 45, 50 years old because your head's all fucked up, right? So I'm an advocate for stopping fights. I don't care how people feel about it. Like, if it's going downhill and I know there's nothing that can be done, like, I'm not playing the 1%. Like, you close your eyes, don't overhand, hope to God it works. If that's the game plan at the end, I'm stopping it. Like, it's just, I've had to stop quite a few fights actually, and I've got no issues with it. Obviously, it breaks my heart to do it because I know my fighter or whatever doesn't want it to happen. But at the same point, man, I'd rather people be able to live for a long time and be okay about it. So fighting, there's way more to life than just fighting.
Yeah.
But no, it's fighting is sad sometimes, man. I don't fuck around with it. I want people to train their ass off and go through hell in the gym so they can have a good time in the ring or cage and it's a little more comfortable. I don't want the other way around where it's just like, I'm just going to go experience it. No, this is not the sport to experience that. To just see if you want to do it, right? It's like I've seen it too much, and it's usually the amateur fighters. The amateur fighters get hurt bad most times, right? Even in boxing, most of the kids that are dying are like AMI fighters, and obviously there's pro fighters too. But
I think the thing about the amateur, especially once it's high level, it's probably not as bad when you're first starting.
yeah.
But like the high level, man, those guys are fighting every weekend,
Yeah.
and sometimes tournaments every weekend. So it could be 3 times a weekend, And it's crazy. My last fight, I fought the number 1 boxer in Canada. He's a 3-time national champ, and we boxed. Or no, I sparred with him. I went out and sparred with him like maybe a month or 2 before we fought.
Oh, okay.
And then we ended up fighting like short notice because my guy couldn't make it. So like on 6 days notice, I fought him anyways. From the time that we sparred to our fight, he fought like 12 or 13 times.
That's impressive.
I'm like, man, I seen you like a month and a half ago. I'm like, that's crazy, man.
But like you see like Lomachenko, you see all these guys with like 300 amateur fights, right? So it's like the old Emmanuel Stewart talking about the amateur boxing. Like you need it because it gives you the aspect of like you can get all this experience, like you just said about the amateur MMA, right? It's like you need it to grow because a lot of the high-end amateurs end up becoming the pro champions, right? It's like you can go throughout history. I mean, you see all these guys that won either Olympic gold medals or whatever, and then or even just high-level fights or like amount of fights and being able to just compete, and then when they go pro they look so comfortable already, right? But it's like obviously not every single amateur boxer is high level, right? And sometimes these high level guys are ending up fighting inexperienced dudes, and then I feel bad for the inexperienced guy because they're gonna get beat, right? Like I see it in Muay Thai too, because like I see it all the time actually in Muay Thai when I'm out there, where it's like, oh, this is your first fight kind of thing. It's just like, yeah, okay, we'll get you a fight. And then all of a sudden it's just like you show up and this guy's got 300 Thai fights. He was a former champion and you're fighting your first time. It's just like, oh shit, right? And you basically just get massacred. And it's just like, well, that wasn't fun, right? Like, I mean, it's cool to fight an experienced guy, but if you're not like ready for it and you're just getting thrown to the wolves. So, I mean, sometimes, you really also have to have people that care about you around you. Right. That's the number one thing. Because sometimes, you just get thrown in because people are just happy to be offered fights. So like, oh, we got an offer a fight. Oh, this is cool. We're not going to get this opportunity. Okay, we're going to go take it. And then it's just, oh, you're fighting the top guy in the area. Oh, you've been training for what, 4 months? Oh, cool. Right? And then it's like you get smoked, and then it demoralizes the person. Most times they quit and they just get out of it. And it's just like, for what? Because you really wanted to fight? And then you end up getting demoralized or a headache or injured or something like that. And it's just like, that wasn't fun. That wasn't skill progressing or any kind of progressing. It was just going in there, getting beat by somebody because you're naive about your guys, right? Like, that's the one thing that I do get kind of angry about in the regional scene for the most part, is that some guys just literally throw their guys at the wolves all the time because they're just happy to be offered a fight. And it's like, I mean, you got if you're going to be a good coach kind of thing like that, you can't do that. I mean, you can't demoralize your entire team or break your entire team just for what? Some experience? Like, I mean, there's better ways to get experience. But that's the shitty thing about fighting sometimes, is that when you feel ready, the fight might not be there, right? So, especially in MMA, it's hard to get fights sometimes, right? Some of these boxing tournaments and the whole amateur boxing, it's very deep, so it's like kind of set up pretty easy where you're going to be able to get fights, right? But in MMA, it doesn't work the same way. So sometimes it might take you like 2 years just to get like 5 fights, right?
Amateur MMA is not even legal here.
Yeah, right? We just legalized it in Ontario. So, and that's the one thing I don't understand is like, you can legalize, it's okay for pro, but
yeah, man.
Right? It's just like,
makes no sense.
What kind of like commission or government is regulating that to make that make sense, right? So I don't know, maybe they just get money for it, right? So you get the commission money, maybe you get that, and then the government's just like, yeah, okay, we're gonna get paid for it, so we'll just do pro. But the amateur events, I don't know if they get paid. I don't know what's going on. Obviously, money runs the world. But like, we just legalized Ontario amateur MMA, and ever since they did that, shows been popping up all over the place.
Yeah.
Right? It's great. Like, I mean, you can at least, experience, gauge everybody together, get them some fights. And then by that time, a couple fights happen. Maybe you can understand if you want to go farther or if that's just good enough. Right. So, but if you don't get the amateur opportunity, then what? You got to go pro right off the bat, and then what? You can't even build back, right? It's like, now you're just fighting the pros, and then if you lose a couple times, they get a pro record of like a couple losses with no wins, and it's just like, I'd rather get that out as an amateur, right? Get the experience, because there's nowhere to go after pro. You're a pro already, right? Mm-hmm. But the fight scene in Canada, like, I mean, I'm an Alberta kid, right? So it's like, Alberta is the Wild West. I love it. Yeah. You can do whatever you want in Alberta. Yeah. Like, I mean, they have amateur, they got pro, they got bare knuckle, they got any single thing you can get, right? And
even the amateur boxing's a little bit grittier there. They let things go a little bit longer, man.
Which, I just said my piece on that, but
yeah.
But yeah, no, it's everywhere else they're trying to make everybody bubble wrapped. Yeah. And then it's just like, okay, well, where do we go from there, right? It's like, but as long as it's progressing bit by bit, then it has somewhere to grow still. But I can't believe it's 2025 and they just legalized amateur MMA in Ontario. I mean, it sucks that it's not even legal here. Because if it was legal here, there'd probably be a ton more shows popping up. Instead of like, Stu's guys and stuff like that, they got to go to like Alberta. They got to try and go wherever else. Sometimes Montana or whatever,
weird because it used to be the opposite. So pro was illegal here, and we could only have amateur.
Okay.
And then when they legalized pro, they got rid of amateur.
Which makes no sense.
So
like, they should just do pro-am cards, right? I mean, you fill the undercard with amateurs, and then just because, I mean, there's not many pro fighters around Saskatchewan anymore.
No.
So you can't fill a pro MMA card with pro fighters in Saskatchewan.
No.
But if you had pro-am cards, you could fill the undercard, still get 5-6 fights amateur, and then get like 5 pro fights if you can find 5 pro fights. And then you have a filled out card, but not like, I mean, my last fight was actually here in Saskatoon, or was it Regina? I actually can't remember. But I don't think they had, like you said, no, there was no amateur, no nothing like that, and it was.
I like what Ryan's doing, because he's doing events that are just everything. So he'll do a couple Muay Thai, a couple boxing, couple MMA, couple. He even did a couple bare knuckle on there.
Oh, okay.
And it was a pretty cool event.
Ryan
Ford.
Okay, in Edmonton.
Yeah, in Edmonton.
Yeah.
And that was wicked.
Yeah.
That was.
But once again, Alberta.
He also did a couple boxing with MMA gloves.
Oh, okay.
So straight boxing rules, but with MMA gloves on. It was a fun event.
I mean, those would be fun to watch 100%. Because I remember, I think Lee Mean was like the first one to do bare knuckle. I think he even was the first person to do like left way fights where you get headbutt and shit. I was just like, too, right? Man. You do whatever you want in Lethbridge. Right? Like, yeah, right.
Lethbridge.
But no, it's cool to see Ryan. Obviously, like Ryan and Parvez, they have the big crew with the bare knuckle and boxers at the Wolf House gym there. And I mean, I don't know what else is going on in Edmonton. I know Complete is still there, but I'm mostly just jiu-jitsu. I think Sean Locke opened up his own gym. I think it's the Dojo. Sadly, the little sweatshop went under. They had probably the better MMA team in Edmonton, but it sucks that they kind of went under. So I don't know what's going to happen with the MMA scene in Edmonton now. Because I know Unify has been coming over to Toronto a whole lot. And then obviously there's still a lot of fighters around Alberta and whatnot, but it's like
just that one Ramil
Hamelov in Calgary. Yeah. So he has his own show too. I think he's got Absolute down in Calgary. So I think they might do pro-am cards on their show. But yeah, like it's at least Alberta. I think it's city by city jurisdiction, right? So it's like you can kind of do your own thing. Like Lethbridge rules, they do whatever. They do whatever they want, right? They do whatever they want. But then Edmonton is a little different sometimes. Calgary was always the most strict. Okay. Like even back in amateur MMA there, I think Ronda Rousey had her first ever amateur MMA fight in Calgary. But you're not allowed to ground and pound the head until like your third fight. So some people don't like that. I don't mind it because like if you have no jiu-jitsu and somebody's just wailing on you on top and then it's just like demoralizing, you're going to find out pretty quick if you want to do it again, right? So, but you don't want to just be like full rules getting crushed on the ground. I don't even know jiu-jitsu. I'm getting my head destroyed and then you get demoralized. But Ontario, I don't know what they're doing. They're saying it's like 4 fights or 3 or 4 fights before you're allowed to hit the head on the ground. I think that's too much. Right, you're gonna find out if you want to do this after 1 or 2 fights. Right, so like 4 fights is a little steep because it might take a long time to even get 4 fights. So, I mean, I wish I was like a part of commissions. I always wanted to be a part of commissions. Like I did Big John McCarthy's course a long time ago, and one day I would love to be a referee, but too much conflict of interest because I'm too much of a coach now. Yeah. But I would love to do that because, I mean, there's a lot of incompetence with judging. The refs are solid at least, but the judges suck. So it's like I would like if more former fighters get into that because at least you can still get paid. You can still make some money. You can stay in it. But at least you would have some competent people reffing and judging these fights. But step by step. Right, step by step.
Extremely slow. Extremely slow steps.
Extremely slow. Yeah.
What do you think has changed in your mindset from being a fighter to being a coach?
Ooh. I mean, out of almost, I've cornered on 50%, I think, out of all the fights that I've fought on. So I cornered and fought on the same card. So it's like probably 50% of my fights. So it's just like I would fight and then I would corner people, or I would corner and then I would fight. So it's like it's not great for your adrenaline dumping and whatnot and going through, right? Because it's like it's a different feel, but I don't know really what changed for me. I still act the same way. Like I still feel like I'm a fighter more than a coach because like if I get in the corner with you and somebody's talking shit, I'm gonna talk shit back. Like I'll fight anybody still. I still feel fine. Like it's like I still want to fight, granted all my injuries or whatever. Maybe I will lose some of these street fights, whatever. I tried to not pick a fight, but I cornered my buddy Aaron Jeffrey in Ireland when he fought Fabian Edwards. And Fabian was just mean mugging us the whole time. And I'm blind, so I can't even see him. So I'm squinting anyways, right? And I'm just like, why does this guy keep staring at us? And he got pissed off that I was staring back at him. I'm like, dude, you're staring at us the whole time. What am I supposed to do? Just like cower away? Like, right. I was like, I'll fight you. I might lose, right? It's like you and your brother Leon Edwards. I was like, I might lose, but I'll fight you, whatever, right? Like, I got my team's back. So I still have the fighter first approach. And then I still feel like I'm very comfortable and I can see things in real time in the corner. And I can feel like I give good advice in the corner, at least from what I see while it's going on. So I still have the fighter first mentality. I don't classify myself as a coach as much because I still am too young to classify myself as a retired person. But like I haven't fought in a long time, and sometimes I feel like I want to, but I don't. But it's like I try to hybrid it. Let's just say that. I'm still a fighter at heart. I'm still a fighter in the gym. I'm still giving rounds to high-level guys if they need it. But I still have the analytical approach, at least for the coaching, that I can still do things in real time and feel comfortable that I'm giving good advice. And that's obviously we're not all perfect, but I keep trying to get as close to perfect as I can possibly get. But that's chasing something that might be impossible, but I'm going to keep chasing it and see how high I can get, right? So, but I don't know. I still love this game. I love the rush of walking to the cage. I love the rush of being there. I love being somebody that can make those decisions if they need to be made, like to stop fights or to whatever. I don't. I like being able to see and know who the fighters are that I work with internally instead of just how they are outside or like in the cage or whatever. So I try to really figure out who the people are as much as possible so I can really kind of gauge where I want to go with it, right? But at heart, still a fighter, but my body's telling me I'm a coach. So
what do you do? This is something I still haven't figured out. What do you do when you feel like you're coaching somebody and their mental isn't at the same level as their physical, you know?
I guess it depends on in what way, like if they have crazy anxiety, like pre-fight anxiety, if they
anxiety, or you can see that like the doubt is there maybe, you know, and it's something that
it's a hard task.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember cornering one fighter a long time ago, and I just remember pre-fight, he comes up to me and the other coach that were going to coach him. I don't want to say any names or anything, and he was just like, I feel like super nervous. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do this kind of thing. And I was just like, shit. Me and the other coaches kind of looked at each other like, oh no. Like, it's like, you got to like try and, for me, I just try and find the psychopath approach to it. Like if I can like tap into the maniac in them, then maybe I can break through the anxiety fear and then just kind of like try to find that side of it. But it's very hard to, especially if it's like pre-fight. Like, I mean, everybody feels nerves, right? Like, I mean, every single fighter, it was like the old Sugar Ray Leonard. He said he retired because he stopped feeling the nerves. And he said, like, if I don't feel that doesn't keep me on edge. That doesn't keep me like I really care about this. I'm just doing it to do it, right? And I took that as like when people say they're nervous, you got to like kind of get in their head that it's like that's a good thing. The best fighters in the world are all nervous still. They get those feelings, but can you tap into it? It's the same thing as Customato. What's the difference between a hero and a coward thing, right? There is no difference. It's just like how can you handle it, right? It's just, but every fighter is different, right? It's hard to tap into somebody and their fight style. If they're a striker, I find sometimes they're not as nervous because they're used to like getting in these striking attitudes. I always find like the grapplers get more nervous than the strikers, just in MMA at least, because if you can't get the person down, now you have to be where you're most unconfident, like comfortable, right? But if like a strike, it's the same aspect. If a striker gets taken down, they're not comfortable either, but they're more accustomed to being in fights. Whereas grapplers, I know they want to call their matches fights, but they're not the same thing, right? So you don't brace for it as much. I always found the strikers are a lot more comfortable in those situations than the grapplers, just because the grapplers aren't as comfortable being in an actual fight. But every fighter is really different. Like sometimes I have a hard time really trying to figure it out. You got to like take them for a walk, you take a couple deep breaths, try and just kind of let them know why they're doing this. Try and figure out why they're doing this internally. Like, challenge yourself. You're trying to whichever, right? But like, I mean, the more experienced pro fighters, I don't see it as much. Obviously, everybody still feels something, but they've already walked to the cage so many times.
Yeah.
One of the things that I do tell people if they have that is to corner as much as possible. So you can walk to the cage as many times as possible. You can be in front of the crowd. You can feel the outside of the cage. You can kind of like get comfortable in the situation instead of just sitting in the crowd. But I found that pretty good. Like, I mean, especially like amateur fights, regardless, it's like go corner your friends, like walk out with them, whatever, if you have the ability to do it, just so you can get comfortable walking to the cage more and more and more ring. And then you can try and harness it. Because I know like my first fight, I've never even went to an MMA event before. And I was the first fight of the night. And I was the first walkout, right? So I'm just like
just all new.
Staring wide-eyed, looking around like, oh, shit. I really should have like went to a couple shows before I did this, right? Just to get the feel of the crowd, get the feel of the energy. But
that's
baptism by fire,
smart,
right?
Actually,
to walk to the cage?
To get them to coach and feel that walking out.
Because then you can kind of, what's the old saying? Once you teach, you learn twice. Right? So it's like, once you can kind of do that and you can really see where your teammates are doing good, doing bad, harnessing what they have to do when they're in dire situations or whatever, then you get a little more custom when it's your time. But I've always found that, I always tell people to just walk to the cage as much as possible. If you can go and support your teammates, obviously support your teammates in general. But just to walk there so you can get so comfortable with that walkout that when it is your time, it's not foreign, right? You're not just like having everybody looking at you for the first time being like, oh shit, this is a nerve-wracking experience. But once you walk out so many times, like I was just saying, my first fight, it was the first time I've ever walked to the cage. It's the first time I did anything. So it was straight baptism by fire. And it was just like, okay. And it woke me up a lot after that. But then that forced me to get into coaching a lot more because I was like, okay, I want to get more comfortable. So I just started coaching, cornering. And now I've walked to the cage a couple hundred times already, right? So it's just like now I just walk out. It just feels normal. My heart doesn't race. I feel like I can be calm and collected. I can see clearly. And then it's just like controlled chaos as much as possible, right? But I always tell fighters as much as possible, walk to the cage as many times, get in front of a crowd as many times as possible, because that's usually what makes people nervous. Like, I mean, the fight is obviously a nerve-wracking experience, but like walking in front of people, it depends on if you're like an extrovert or an introvert. If you're an introvert, then just walking out in the crowd is scary, right? But if you're an extrovert, well, maybe you're a little more comfortable with it, but it's like, I don't know. Like I said, everybody's different, right? I'm sure you have a couple fighters that are just like blood and guts. They have a lot of fun going out there and having a blast. And then you got some that are just like, shit, this isn't stressing me out, right? Right? It's stressing me out just being here, right? It's like
I have a couple boxers that like I'm nervous because I want them to win so bad because I know how they're gonna take the loss.
Yeah.
If they lose.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I remember my one girl, her very first fight, right before we're gonna walk in the ring, I said, "All right, how do you feel?" She said, "I feel like I fought already." I'm like, "Ooh, it's gonna be rough." This is gonna be a rough one.
But sometimes it's not bad though, because it's like I know a lot of fighters, at least in MMA, they want to get that first like deep breath out of the way in the back, just so it's like it kind of takes away the anxiety. But who is it? Teddy Atlas. Teddy Atlas always says something about anxiety, where he's like movement like curbs anxiety. He's like, if you just sit still, like I always found the most nerve-wracking time for me was when I was wrapping my hands. I say that because I wrap my hands more than I had my hands wrapped by anybody. So like when I was fighting, I would just wrap my own hands, tape and gauze, and do my thing. But that was good for me because it focused. But if I have somebody that's wrapping my hands and it takes them forever to do it, I'm just sitting there for like a half hour. Like, I wish I can get up and just shadow box right now. I wish I can just stop thinking about this shit, right? So I always found that the hand wrapping part is where most people get that anxiety. So if you can kind of just talk with them and just make it comfortable and make a couple jokes, let them know it's just like a fun time and stuff like that, then you can kind of make it fun. Because I mean, if you're gonna do it anyways, you might as well have a good time doing it, right? Because I mean, you're gonna do it anyways. You might as well enjoy the process as best as you possibly can, nerves or not, right? Like you might as well, because going into it and being stressed out and then getting in there, it's like you're just defeating yourself before you even do it, right? So it's like self-confidence is the biggest thing in fighting. I mean, obviously, but it's like it's hard to like figure out, like it's every individual is different, right? For me, I was kind of more the psychopath approach. Like I'm just gonna go in there, I'm gonna go nuts. I don't know where the cards are having, because I cornered myself for the most part. Like I had people corner me, but I never really had like a coach. I've never really had a real coach in my life. So I would go to like Thailand to hold pads with a couple dudes and do that, or I would travel all over the place just to spar with high level guys, and then I would film all my stuff so I can see where my holes were, because I never had a coach to tell me really anything. So I had to do all of it myself, and that was stressful enough as it is. But it's I just took the approach where I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna go nuts. It's gonna be fun, but my results varied, let's just say that, right? I wish I had somebody in a sense that was kind of like me, that I can keep the psychopath approach, but I can dial it back in a more tactical way. But I never had that. I was just like blood and guts. Let's go. Arturo Gatti style, right? It's just, but everyone's different. Like I said about the strikers versus grapplers attitude, like strikers I always found way more comfortable to fight than the grapplers. The grapplers are a little different mentally than the strikers, but it always comes down to who you're fighting as well, right? Because I mean, what is this opponent's game plan? What is this opponent's skill set? What are they doing? Because that'll change the dynamic of your fighter entirely, right? So, but it's just a dice game basically sometimes, but yeah.
For real. That's good, man. Well, we're just over an hour here. I usually like to go for about an hour. Nothing too crazy.
Sounds
But
good.
man, that was awesome. That was awesome having you, meeting you. I know Stuart just talked super highly of you.
I talk super highly of Stewart also. I love that guy. I love what he's doing with the reservation kids. I love that he's trying to get them to see the bigger picture than just their regional hometowns.
Yeah.
Try and get them out there, see the world, because I mean that goes a long way. Obviously, I'm from Fort McMurray. When I got to go outside of the world, or my hometown, sorry, I started really understanding that what I was doing in my hometown was working. Right? But I never knew that because I just think I'm from Fort McMurray. We're nobody. I can't compare to Vegas. I can't compare to all these people that have all of this shit. And then I went and trained with a lot of them. Like, wow, I'm doing really good. And I'm just training in the middle of nowhere by myself, right? So mentality is everything. Sometimes you think that everybody else is better than you until you start training with them. And then you're just like, I'm better than I thought I was. Right. And that's what I love that Stu's doing, is that like I really want him to fight again, But I love that he's bringing the confidence to these kids, and he's trying to get them to not get into dumb drugs or just stupid street gang bullshit and all this stuff that's just going to ruin your whole life anyways, right? So I love what Stu is doing. I'm a huge supporter of Stu. I've been a huge supporter of him forever. I talk to him all the time. He's my brother. I got quite a few of those guys, but Stu has been with me for the longest, probably like 2009. He says 2008. I'm tired. I don't know, somewhere in the vicinity, right? So it's like, we're still young. He's what, 35. I'm 36, and it's like we've been beating the hell out of each other for like almost 20 years now, and he's one of the most talented people that I've seen, and he's from kind of the middle of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
And I really want him to branch out. And I love that the young kids are starting to do good. I just hope that some of them just keep with it, because he's one of the best pad holders I've ever met. He's dedicated. He's got that attitude. I think he would do great. I think he's continuing to do great. And some of these kids are going to get older, and I think they're going to be the next generation. Because, Native kids are tough. Very tough. The sad reality, though, is that there's not a lot of programs for some of these kids in some of these places. So I love that Stu is staying close to home to build up some of his local kids, and it's I love that. So it's fighting is more than just getting in the cage. It's making these kids actually see that they're worth something. Mm-hmm. Same as Stu, you're worth something, buddy. If you ever see that. But yeah, it was great to come on. I appreciate the message and everything. And anybody who wants to come out to NTT in Niagara Falls area, then come out and train with us. We got a solid team. We have a lot of people in every division. And then we got guys like Cody Shavancek coming up. He's a unified champ. He's on Contender Series in September. So and we got Jasmine and Mike Malott probably fighting October, UFC Vancouver. Sadly, Aaron Jeffrey just got robbed by shitty old Dalton Rasta and some judges. Otherwise, he would have been fighting for the $1 million PFL tournament in August. Mm-hmm. And then we have like Zach Powell. We got Clayton Pye. Tisha Guthrow. We have a lot of fighters. Alana Cook. I don't want to name the whole team. Keena Keller. We got a whole good group of fighters and veterans, and we have a good solid team, and we're trying to do something that's instead of all of our top prospects leaving and going to the States, we're trying to build something in Canada. So we have one of the highest skilled wrestling groups in Canada with Brock University's team. Like Chris Prickett's the head coach, and he was a Canadian Olympic wrestler and a really high level coach. We got Matt DiMarcantonio, black belt, is a 20 pro vet, good pad holder and everything. And we got a solid team, and it's great to see. And I love seeing Canada build in Canada, right? And that's the one thing. Like, I am a diehard Canadian. Like I said, I hate the government, but I am a die-hard patriotic Canadian, and I wish that all the top prospects in Canada would just stay up here and we can be successful up here, because that's what we need. I'm tired of seeing all these guys go to the States when we have everything up here. And beyond that, we're a young team. All of our coaches are young still. We're all still dedicated, working very hard, and it's great. It's great, right? I mean, that's what you want. You want to have a good community that really wants to build, and I'm tired of Canada being rivals with Canada. I'm tired of that's why I love the UFC events, because it's the only time that I ever feel that the Canadians are finally on the same team. Mm-hmm. Instead of all of our guys fighting our own gyms, because we don't have that many gyms, right? So I love feeling that Canada is together. And that's the one cool thing about this team here at NTT, is that most of the fights have been in the States, because we're right on the border. So we go down to Ohio, go to New York State, go to Pennsylvania. We get a lot of fights where we don't have to fight our local Canadians, and then just come train, try and get out of the regional scene and get into the world scene together, instead of just fighting each other to be who's the best in a fucking small town.
Yeah.
Right. So I love when everybody gets united and we can work together, because we have a smaller population, but we have high level fighters, very high level fighters in every field. And I just wanted everybody in Canada to unite. Same as the Liberals, unite. Yeah, right.
The finger point.
Yeah, right. Well, happy Canada Day too.
We're planning on coming to Niagara Falls this year.
Excellent. Come through, man.
And we'll come. Yeah, we'll stop by, come visit, come hang out. Because
we got like in the area, we have like Lucas Body. Obviously, he's like, what is he, 16, 17-0 right now as a pro boxer. We have like a good like alliance with Stevie Bailey and the West End boxing team. So a lot of our guys will go and train with them when they come back. And so it's cool that we can do that, right? Yeah. So, because I mean, Stevie's a great coach and he cares about his fighters too. And he works with us, and it's...
Do you ever go out to Nova Scotia, to Gavin's?
No, I was supposed to go out and train with Gavin, but he got injured. And then obviously, like, we have so many fight camps, but he might be fighting on UFC Vancouver. Hopefully he can stay healthy, because he is one of the most talented people I have ever met when it comes down to boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, just everything. That guy is a talent, and his team is doing great as well. And same thing. Like, I want all our guys to unite. And sadly, one of our guys fought each other, and it is what it is. But it's I want like at least all of our top prospects in the country to be able to just train together, so we can get to the world level together, instead of just like one of us has to go and one of us has to stay. Right. So I would rather us just team up and we can do some great things within Canada, right? Make Canada great again.
And with that, no, but again, thanks for coming. That was awesome, man. And I think we'll call it there.
Well, thank you very much for having me, man.
Yes, sir.